So most of you probably don't know this, but there's actually 4 different levels of action, and that's what we're going to be discussing in today's podcast. Where at the end of the day, hey, if you are able to identify as far as which form of action that you're able to decipher yourself as and focus on that goal that you want to achieve, I promise you this, it's going to help you get one step closer. And that's obviously the job for today's podcast, as well as all the episodes that we do here at Heartletics. And if you guys are tuning in for the first time, hey, welcome. My name is Coach Joe with Heartletics.com. And today I just want to simply inspire you guys to take action. But you need to understand that there's actually 4 different types, 4 different forms of action, 4 different levels, so to speak. And I want you guys to achieve massive amounts of success in terms of achieving your goals, whatever it is that you want, whether it's burning body fat, whether it is getting off your medications, whether it's, having a business or financial freedom, whatever the case may be. I want you guys to have success, plain and simple. And I got this 4 levels of action from Grant Cardone in his book, The 10X Rule. If you guys have not yet, read that book, definitely go check it out. I found a copy on Spotify, the audio, where I got to just listen to it. And it's great because Grant Cardone, it's his own voice, reading the audio, reading his own book. And if you guys ever listened to him before, he's like that raunchy, kind of like Southern type, but it's just like, he speaks in a way that, to me, I listen. It motivates me because I'm like, man, this guy's speaking my language, right? So it's really cool. He might turn some people off. He might turn some people on. But regardless, check it out. At the end of the day, I feel like he has some great information out there. And if you guys are, not yet informed about what the 10X rule is, I'll summarize it real quick. And it's just think about your goals. Wherever it is that your goals are at, 10X it. Plain and simple. And so let's say, hey, you want to make $100,000 a year. Well, he's saying, hey, 10X that. Try to make $1 million a year. Amplify that. Just make it way better, way bigger. Because at the end of the day, if let's just say like you're reaching for $100K a year, well, you might fail and hit, let's just say 80K, 85K, 90. Well, okay. Well, what if you actually thought, right, your goal was $1 million a year? You 10X that 100K to making $1 million a year. Well, guess what? What if you fail, but you end up making 250K? That's still a lot better than making the 100K. And you guys got to understand this as far as just like our mindset is. And this is why I love learning about the mind and love learning about, different ways of just focusing. That's it. Our attention towards what we truly want. And if you understand, like, okay, if I have this big goal, you're going to think differently. This is why I really truly hate when people say, I don't have time, I don't have money, I can't do this, excuse. Because they're literally painting the picture. They are literally creating their own reality with their own words and their own thoughts. And instead, they just need to change up their own thoughts. So instead of saying like, hey, I don't have the money, just simply say like, how can I afford this? That's it. It's just a different way of you thinking differently. Instead of saying like, I don't have the time, how can I make the time? Like, there's no difference between, a bum, right, has 24 hours in a day and a billionaire has 24 hours a day. There's no difference, no difference in time at all. It's just that, how do you prioritize that time? What are you willing to do? Grant Cardone talks about it, and I'm sure I'll get into it in one of these podcast episodes soon. He mentioned that everybody has the excuse about like, oh, I work too much. I don't have enough time. And he literally broke down the math with how many hours people work, the time people sleep, even commute time, and how much wasted time is actually out there. So let's say you're working, let's just say 50 hours a week. There's so much wasted time that you're actually doing still. And the fact that you are actually at work doesn't mean you're actually presently working. He mentioned that it's like 20 to I think 32% of the people are actually diligent during all those work hours at work. Half the time they're on their phone, fooling around, like, thinking about, God knows what. It's just like they're not actually focusing. And so that time dedicated to the work is a lot shorter than what people actually think. There's more wasted time more than ever. And if you learn how to master your time, you odds are can probably achieve your goals in a greater time frame than most. But so his book, The 10X Rule, is all about taking massive action, And so he sets you up with just thinking about things differently, getting you to think about your goals at a higher level than a normal goal, right? Why settle? Why be average? And so he talks about the 4 levels of action, and this really resonated with me, honestly. He was saying a lot of things in here in this, chapter of the book where I can understand it could probably offend a lot of people out there if they are living a mediocre life, right? If they're settling for average, he mentioned about middle class, and I'm somebody I grew up in middle class, right? And it was just like, he was saying things that I'm sure if I was still there, I would be very offended, but it made me realize wow, he's got a point. And he said some really good things, and I'll probably talk about that in the next few episodes here on the podcast. But these 4 levels of action, what are they? How do we know them so we can better get one step closer to our goals? Well, one, right, and this is the first level, okay? Doing absolutely nothing. Now, you might be thinking right now, that's not action. Well, think about it. It's inaction, A lot of guys out there that, if they'll say signing up for a free assessment called Heartletics, maybe they're applying for our coaching program, we often ask them, it's just why do you want to make this decision to get signed up today? And it's just oh, well, I don't know, just want to lose some weight or yada, yada, yada. It's not a deep-rooted surface. We get them thinking differently. Well, what about the cost of inaction if you don't decide, right, to invest and don't decide to prioritize your health today? Are you going to continue to struggle for, months and years of feeling depressed, having high blood pressure, lacking energy, lacking confidence? Well, hey, at the end of the day, you only got one life to live. And what kind of example are you setting? Now, somebody might hear that and be like, oh, that's just a little salesy technique, right, that you guys are doing to just persuade people. It's no. You're taking action. At the end of the day, if you're not doing anything at all, you're deciding to take action by not doing anything at all, and it's not admirable, there's nothing credible about it at all. And it's in my, humble defense, I think it's pathetic when guys say they want something, but then they actually don't go ahead and do it. I think that shows their true character, in my opinion. The second level of action is simply retreating, And you might be thinking okay, so what does that actually mean? Well, hey, think about this, right? Let's say you have a goal, and then, that first level of action. So let's say the goal here is, I want to lose 50 pounds and get off my blood pressure medications. Well, the first level of action is just okay, hey, I have a goal, but I don't do anything about it. I'm not walking more. I'm not eating more protein. I'm not doing anything about it. Well, that level 2, the retreating, right? So level 2 action, retreating, is just hey, I have this goal of, hey, I want to lose 50 pounds, get off my blood pressure medications, but hey, I'm going to use the excuse of genetics. It's hereditary. So, you know what? Whatever, right? I'm not even going to think about that goal anymore. I'm just going to write it off as a big red X. I'm never going to be like that. I'm never going to have success. They're retreating. They're literally going back. And so level 1 action, doing nothing. Level 2 action, retreating, is very similar. And Grant Cardone talks about that a lot. But here's the thing. And this is going to be that kind of reality shock for you guys. And this definitely was for me when I heard it. He said level 3 is normal levels of action. Average. And he said, quote unquote, this is the most dangerous level of action there is. Not 1, doing nothing. Not 2, retreating. But 3, normal levels of action. He said these are the guys that are stuck in their comfort zone. These are the guys that, hey, I'm going to settle for the middle class. I'm going to settle for just average. And whatever happens, happens. That's it. And he said that this is the sticky situation, the sticky area right? The danger zone, so to speak, simply because these are the guys out there that they look back years and years and years and years, right? And let's say they're on their deathbed or as they get older, and there's nothing but regret. And that's why it's the most dangerous, is because these guys settled for less. It's kind of like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and achieve a goal, but I don't want to give it my all. I don't want to actually achieve like what's bigger and better than what I even planned because, hey, nobody else has been able to achieve that. I'm just going to settle for average. Roger Bannister, right? He was the man that completed the 4-minute mile on the very first time. Think about that. Doctors told him the human heart would explode, right? That was literally impossible. Did he settle for just average? Like, no, he gave it his all, and he achieved that success, and he broke that self-limiting belief that also led to hundreds of other people running that 4-minute mile afterwards, after he completed it. So, like, the reason why this is the most dangerous is because, one, you get stuck, right? This is where, and I can honestly say this, I was like this a lot in my business, where everything's good. I'm like, hey, this is cool, making good money, helping out people, I got people working for me, I can just sit here and just do this for the rest of my life and have a great life ahead of me. But why? Like, what's the point of that? I'm going to look back, and I already know this. I'm going to look back and I'm going to say that was stupid for me to do that because I could have achieved a lot more, Like, I don't want to just run Heartletics. There's other things I want to do inside the Heartletics umbrella, inside the Heartletics corporation. Like, I want to go and I want to speak at different schools. I want to help out the youth. I want to go and I want to, have a TED Talk one day. I want to speak on different, platforms and just inspire and motivate people. Like, there's a lot that I want to do underneath the Heartletics umbrella. But if I was just going to sit here and say, hey, listen, I got a great team that works for me. We're fine. We're good. I can just sit here every single day and be fine with it. Like, no. Like, I'm still literally grinding like my back is against the wall. Why? Well, hey, that 4th level of action is massive action. And I would say that I had massive action before reading Grant Cardone's book, but it wasn't until like I really dove in and kind of heard it from him perspective where I decided to say, all right, I got to stop settling for less. I got to stop lowering my standards. I got to raise my standards even higher because at the end of the day, like, you have one life to live. And this is what I really want you guys to understand from all this is that Grant Cardone, like, literally, if you ever hear his story, he was dirt broke. He was on drugs, all this stuff. And now the dude's a billionaire, right? Like, and here's the thing that I really want you guys to understand, honestly. Success is created. It's not given. Let me repeat that so you guys understand. Success is created. It is not given. You need to create success. But the problem is that your mindsets is what's holding you back from even attempting to have that success. Why? Because odds are you're stuck between 1, 2, and 3. And if you're listening to this podcast, odds are you're in 3, right? Where it's just like you're in the average zone. You're in the middle class. You're in your comfort zone. And we always tell our coaching clients, like, that is where you're going to die, is in the comfort zone. Like, you need to make it your mission that every single day you're going to be 1% better and take just that small little step outside your comfort zone and expand on that. Because that's where life's at. And yeah, it's scary. Yeah, there's plenty of time you're going to take a risk. Yeah, there's plenty of times where it's going to be that leap of faith. But at the end of the day, I mean, look in terms of your life being like a superhero. Like, does anybody want to go watch you just sit there all day and type away at a keyboard and just like go home and sit around on the couch, drink beer and eat nachos and like that's your life? And fast forward 20, 30 years, like you retire and, you're miserable and then you die? Like, that would be the worst movie in the world, honestly. But why are you living your life like that? Like, that's the reality. And I heard that superhero analogy from Joe Rogan on his podcast, and it was instantly resonated with me. I instantly said, oh, shoot, like that makes perfect sense. You know, and I put a little twist on it with just like my religious beliefs where it's just like, okay, hey, we're not promised tomorrow. What if I was going to die tomorrow? And then let's say God takes me to some movie theater upstairs in heaven, right? He's like, hey, bro, how was it down there? How was Earth? And I'm like, man, it was cool. It was great. I ran this business. He's like, oh, man, that's sick. But come over here. And he brings me down to the movie theater. And then he puts on, you know, and it says like, you know, Joe Callari. And then it's just like the life that he had planned out for me. But I was too scared of living inside my comfort zone to actually go after those goals, to actually take massive amounts of action and try to achieve that. And then I'm sitting there with regret. It's just like, literally, think about your life being like the superhero. Like I would rather go through so many like emotional, you know, roller coasters of the highs, the lows, of success, everything like that, because it only makes things better in the end. And I think I just learned this through so much trial and error of doing things on my own, but also just investing into myself, investing into different coaches, investing in different mentors, and most importantly, investing in my mindset, where I can see that, you know, success leaves clues. And at the end of the day, like, I know that failure is the biggest part of success. And most people out there are very scared of failing. That's why they settle for average. That's why they settle for their comfort zone. They're scared to take action. And they don't understand that it's part of the journey. It's part of success. So like, I'm here today to tell you, like, take a risk. Like, take some chances. Like, and if you fail, well, guess what? Fail forward. Get right back up. Brush off your shoulders. You didn't die. Go back and try it again. Try just a different way. Eventually, no matter how much you try, you will have success. As long as you're changing things up and thinking things differently. And I highly recommend that, you know, you go check out Grant Cardone's book, The 10X Rule. Like, you can learn about the 4 levels of action, right? Once again, number 1, do nothing. 2, retreating. 3, just being average. The most dangerous, right, level of action right there is just being normal, living in your comfort zone. And then 4, taking massive action. And that's where you take your goal and you amplify and you go all in. Like, what are you really going all in for? Ask yourself that. Are you living this routine life where it's just like Groundhog's Day over and over and over again? Like, come on. You got one life to live. Like, live it to the most. Live it to the fullest. It's a lot of fun also when you take that risk out there. I promise you it is. And so, Grant Cardone, he actually mentions this about his emails too. Because I guess... somebody complained about one of the emails, like, oh man, you sent like way too many emails. And I think he was sending like maybe like 2 or 3 emails a month. And I guess somebody complained to him and he's like, okay, I'm gonna send emails every single day now. And like more and more, and this is what's really cool that I really hope you guys pick up from this story. More people started to complain, right? More people started to unsubscribe, right? Like even his PR team was like, bro, Grant, we can't be sending out emails every day, man. You're going to piss these people off. He's like, nah, man. Massive action. Like, I'm all in. Like, I'm all in. I'm literally, he talks about being omnipresent, you know? Where, hey, I'm not going to make just Twitter posts, YouTube posts, like, you know, Facebook, Instagram. I'm going to do it all. And these emails, like everything. I'm going all in. Massive amounts of action. And so he talks about how a bunch of people were complaining and unsubscribing from his email list. But then, right, it was just like those people, hey, they just unsubscribe, they, you know, whatever, complain, they said their 2 cents thinking that, like, things are going to change when it's not. And eventually, people started to admire him more and more and more because of the action. And so, like, he talks about this a lot where that's where you know you're on the path to greatness. Where it's just like, in the beginning, you're going to have some haters. You're going to have some people that's going to doubt you. And typically it's your closest friends and family members in the very beginning. That's the reality. They say they're looking out for you. They want nothing but the best for you. But at the end of the day, this is your life. You were born in this world by yourself. You got to go through this world by yourself. Like, yeah, there's going to be people in your corner, people supporting you, but still, this is your life. And so they might be saying like, hey, we're only looking out for you, right? But at the end of the day, like, most people don't actually want you to succeed. most people actually don't want you to grow. And those people are going to be saying like, hey, we're looking out for you, are also the people that's holding you back. So you almost got to just understand like, hey, there's going to be some people that's not going to support you, and that's A-okay. You need to learn how to be brainwashing yourself for success. You need to learn how to just go after it, rip off the Band-Aid, and dive all in. What's the worst thing that could happen? You fail? Well, hey, guess what? That's a great story that you can tell your kids, right? About how you tried, rather than being on your deathbed and having regret because you didn't. So guys, take action. Don't do nothing. Don't retreat. And obviously don't settle for average. Take massive amounts of action. Whatever it is that you want, go after it. Rip off the Band-Aid. 10x that goal. And just dive in head first. Hopefully you guys got some inspiration from today's episode. If you did, definitely let me know. Maybe share this on your social media page. And as always, guys, this has been Coach Joe with the Heartletics podcast. I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace out, Girl Scouts.